as we discussed, we're going to talk about mechanical contractor, and actually I added boiler licensing on here too. The importance, of course, of getting a license, keeping a license, maintaining, and then adding those classifications in regards to some of the questions that the group had gotten. So I'm going to start with a high level of what the Bureau of Construction Codes actually is. This is our mission statement, but we as the Bureau of Construction Codes under the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs are responsible for construction in the entire state of Michigan. We are responsible for codes, laws, rules, promulgation of all of those, assistance in language for any of those, and then the enforcement of all of that, which would be the permitting, inspection, and licensing. When you do see that a local authority has permitting and inspection authority, it's because they had to specifically come to the Bureau and ask permission to do so. So they have to meet specific requirements. There are townships and cities that have all, or they have one of the classifications that they have permitting and inspection authority for. So just high level there, what the whole Bureau does, and we'll get started. Bureau of Construction Codes, all of our authority is based on law. So anything that we have the authority to do, there is legislation out there that says that we have the authority to do so. Subsequently, when laws are written, it is, for lack of a better way to put it, the politicians write it. We have the authority to write rules to make what they require actually effective in the processes and procedures that we have. So here, and this will be shared later on, but these are all links. So again, with the Bureau of Construction Code having all authority over construction in the state of Michigan, that is given to us by PA 230 of 1972. That tells us what we do. In regards to licensing, especially in these two classifications, that is the Skilled Trades Regulation Act, and that's PA 407 of 2016. And then specifically the articles that are mechanical contractors, boiler installers and repairers, and then the skilled trades regulation rules. And again, that's that administrative connection to make what they tell us to do to actually work for citizens and applicants and licensees. So these are all links that we can share that'll go direct to each of these sections. All right. So the Skilled Trades Regulation Act, Article 8 is mechanical contractors. The Skilled Trades Regulation Act is broken up like chapters in a book. So Articles 1 through 6 talk about overall licensing, enforcement proceedings, how when you violate licensing laws, what actions can be taken by the state against your license. But then you get into the nitty gritty of each of the trades. 7 is electrical, 8 is mechanical, 9 is boiler, 10 is inspector registrations, and then 11 is plumbers. So again, today we're talking about mechanical and boiler specifically. So within Article 8, this is where it lays out who needs to be licensed for what. I gotta set my screen here. So except as provided in subsection 3 or 4, which provides the exemptions of licensing, and section 819, an individual or other person shall not perform installation, alterations, or servicing of work classifications that are regulated under the Still, Dorset, Hale Single State Construction Code Act, and that is that 230 of 1972, unless if the person is an individual, holds a mechanical contractor license. Mechanical, like boiler, the mechanical contractor is licensed, but not necessarily each of their techs under them. But that person who holds that license is the person who is responsible for code compliance. Mechanical contractor classification. So there seem to be a lot of questions in regards to this. There are 2 different types. You have installation and repairing. So installations are exactly that. You have a license that allows you to install the equipment, but does not give you the authority to repair the equipment. So if you have classification 2, you will see that these are kind of out of order. These are based on the classification number within the act. So classification 2 is HVAC, and that applies to, your furnaces and air conditioning units, all that encompasses. There's actually a lot that falls under that HVAC category as far as equipment for installation. But further on, you've got hydronic heating, refrigeration, and the fire suppression. Each of those classifications is not a one coverage type of license. You have to hold the license for what you are installing. So each of these classifications talk about what is allowed with each of those. Side note, and we will talk about this later on, HVAC covers a lot, but it also includes ductwork. So historically, there was a ductwork classification. Just the way it's split out from plumbing when they originally did it. So they kept that separate, but HVAC in itself does cover ductwork. So if you did have an HVAC license, you wouldn't necessarily need to get that ductwork classification. A lot like to, but it does mean an extra exam. So that's with that part of that. Repairs. So there are two different types of repair licenses. You've got the limited, which limits you on the pressure and the BTUs within devices that you can do. So limited talks about, gets very specific into the 400,000 BTUs. And then you've got refrigerants are group 1 refrigerants. The next type of classification is unlimited. So I think that we get a lot of questions about A2L and that new type of refrigerant out there. A2L is covered under unlimited refrigerant. Limited does not cover that. Specialty licenses. So we do have all of these specialty licenses that are out there that are gas fireplaces, piping from a propane tank to a house. There's all kinds of stuff there. If you hold a number 2 HVAC license, you do not need to hold one of these specialty. Number 2 HVAC license covers all of the specialty licenses. If you do not hold a 2, you would have to provide the experience for each one of these to apply. A lot of situations are out there where people don't necessarily want to have a 2. They only need, you're gonna have plumbers who are gonna have the fuel, gas piping and venting for water heaters, things like that. So there are definitely situations where people only want parts of these, not necessarily the whole thing, because they would subsidize what they're doing. Like I said, mostly in the plumber side of that. Okay. Getting a mechanical contractor license. To sit for any of the mechanical contractor license initially, you have to provide mechanical contractors experience statements showing 3 years, 6,000 hours under another licensed individual. So it would be current and or former employers would write you letters that say you did the type of work that you are applying for from the state to the state. And then we add those statements up to get to the 3 years, 6,000 hours. We do accept experience that has been obtained. I don't know if concurrently is the right word for that, but while you can get HVAC and hydronic at the same time, if you are working under an employer who has both of those. So your 3 years, 6,000 hours would count towards both of those. It wouldn't need to be 3 years, 6,000 hours only HVAC or only hydronic. You could get it both ways. So we're going to use HVAC for this going forward because this is where we add classifications onto a license. So you have applied, taken an exam, and been issued a mechanical contractor license with the HVAC classification. You hold a 2. If you are not 1, if you have a 2, you do not have to get any of the specialty classifications. That covers all of them. But if you have that 2 HVAC license, you don't necessarily have the repair licenses. Holding that HVAC license for 3 years, you can then make application to add your repair classifications. The law states, or So you can get the limited services or you can get the unlimited services. So when you hit your 3 years, you would submit another application. Again, you're going to have to take examinations for that, but because you've held that HVAC license for 3 years, you will be able to sit for those exams. I have highlighted all of those options down below because there are a couple of different scenarios similar to that you can do. Um, so if you look at so this uh, bottom one here currently holds and has continuously held for at least 3 years immediately preceding his or her application an active license under this act in a work classification listed in subsection 2B, D, E, or F, and is applying for licensure in the following work classifications as applicable. So if he or she currently holds a license in the work classification in subsection 2B, which is HVAC, you are eligible for C, E, F, G, H, or J. Again, the C is ductwork. It's actually already included. E, F, so F, G, H, E, F, G, H are your limited and unlimited service repair classifications. And then J are the specialty. Again, specialty and ductwork are already included under HVAC. And I have that reference later, so I'll show you that. If he or she currently holds a license in the work classification listed under subsection 2D, a work classification listed in you can get a work in 2F or H. So if you hold refrigeration, you can get the limited or unlimited refrigeration repair classification. And then again, if you hold in 2E, a work classification is listed under 2G. Here's your subsection 2E, a work classification listed in subsection 2G. So this is where if you hold repair, you can get the next level of repair. So again, how to get a mechanical license. To install, you must hold the appropriate installation license. To repair, you must hold the appropriate repair license. Installation licenses do not auto qualify you to repair the devices you install. Again, if you hold a classification 2, this includes 3, ductwork, and all of the specialty classifications. This is that reference I was talking about. This is where they spell it out right in the rules. Oops. That what is all included under HVAC. Again, after holding classification 2 HVAC for 3 years, you may apply to add any of the service classifications or specialty licenses. After holding classification 4 refrigeration for 3 years, you may apply to add limited or unlimited refrigeration and air conditioning. After holding classification 5 limited heating for 3 years, you may add 6 unlimited. After holding classification 7 limited for 3 years, you may apply to add classification 8. So that previous page where this is the law reference, this is that language clearly. So you can read through that clearly. If you hold other classifications, you must provide evidence of 3 years, 6,000 hours. So if you have a hydronic license, you are going to have to provide, there's no automatic 3 years of holding that. You are going to have to provide evidence of that 3 years, 6,000 hours of experience. All right. So from there, I am going to jump into boiler. Are we doing okay so far? Yeah. Okay.